Welcome back, sports fans. And this one is for NBA fans. So let's go ahead and get into this. Is LeBron James on steroids? Okay, I can't say for sure that he is on steroids because he hasn't confessed. The allegations have not been brought against him, but I'm going to tell you a couple things in this video, and I will tell you what I think eventually is going to happen in the NBA with LeBron and these steroids allegations. And the NBA is in big trouble. Okay, so we've all heard so many allegations about LeBron and his steroids. You could say PEDs, whatever you want to say. Kevin Garnett has came out. His wife's trainer was in the scandal in the Balco. And his best friend, Mims, I don't think he was indicted, but he was in the scandal. So it's just a coincidence that LeBron has not been accused or convicted of any steroid use in this whole thing. And let me say this. To me, I don't think his scoring average right now has anything to do, well, his stat line period has anything to do with him being on steroids. I think the era is just that weak. You know what I'm saying? I think great players from the past could be scoring the same as LeBron or even more. You put Shaq in this era, you put Jordan in this era. Pippen would score more points, more assists, more rebounds. Any player from the past, Larry Bird, Clyde Drexler, Kevin McHale, I don't care, Akeem, I don't care who you put, Anthony Hardaway, let's see, Charles Barkley, any of the players from the 80s, the 90s, even Wilt Chamberlain will be just scoring like crazy in this era, even at LeBron's age, even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, okay? And let's talk about this because we all know a couple things. That Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, his last, 3 seasons, he was like a shell of himself. And he was barely getting up and down the court. We know Michael Jordan, when he won his 6th championship in Chicago, he basically had no lift. If you watch the shot against Utah, the last shot that he took as a Chicago Bull, he had to push off of Russell. And a lot of people don't realize just before Jordan took off to shoot that shot, Russell hit him with a hand check, right? Okay. And that's how difficult the league was back then. The league was back then. Even though they kind of got away from hand checking, they were still doing hand checking back then, okay? Because a lot of people like to say, no, they ended hand checking in the late 90s. They were still doing it, okay? So Russell, he hand checked Jordan right before he took off, and Jordan kind of like faked him. And then Russell kind of lost his footing, and then he recovered a little bit, and then that's when Jordan pushed off and shot the shot on Russell because Jordan really didn't have no more lift like he did in his first three-peat or before that. You know, I'm not trying to say Jordan was a shell of himself, but we all know the last three-peat, that was not Air Jordan. He had to take, I would say, 70% of his shots from the mid-range, which was incredible how he was still scoring from the mid-range. He was the mid-range king. That's why I tell a lot of people Curry is not a better shooter than Jordan. He just ain't, because Jordan had to encounter hand checking, body to body. There was no space. And this guy was shooting right inside the arc, hitting long two-pointers and stuff like that. So to me, none of these guys in this era are really better shooters than the 90s or the 80s because these guys got so much space. You can't hand check. Even Durant, I don't consider him a better shooter than Michael Jordan because he never had to encounter hand checking, body to body. They don't trap guys when they come down the court. I mean, you watch 80s and 90s basketball, especially, the end of the 90s, the middle of the 90s until the end of the 90s. I mean, those dudes were like right on top of you. You know what I'm saying? You had to get picks or you had to just be, real great at separating and get space, or you just had to shoot with the dude in your face. Look at Reggie Miller. Look at this guy would come off of like 2, 3 screens and shoot the ball and still would have a hand in his face, okay, and barely get the ball off. So I don't think it's the same as when Curry's shooting. You know what I'm saying? These guys don't have the same effort coming off of screens, and Curry's wide open half the time. Now people will be like, I'll show you videos when, dude was right on him and all. Yes, I will show you a video where dudes were right on Reggie Miller. But I'm saying at least 70% of the time, it's easier for Curry to get open than a Reggie Miller. So let's don't get too far off subject. So again, to me, I this is what I think. I just said it, that it's easier to score in this era because of defense, and that's the way the NBA wants it. So I can't put steroids on LeBron scoring all these points, getting all these rebounds and all this stuff, because he's really not, he doesn't have to work hard to shoot the ball. He doesn't have to work hard to get the rebounds or pass the ball to get assists. He doesn't have to do anything difficult. What I will say is that there's no way in this world this guy is running up and down the court in year 18, 19, 20, and 21 with 21-year-olds, 25-year-olds, and stuff like that. There's no way. This guy's he's got to be allegedly on something. He should be playing like, couple minutes in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and maybe all of the fourth quarter or something like that. Man, this guy is even though he doesn't play no defense, the whole league doesn't play no defense. And, we all know he saves a lot of energy not playing no defense. But to me, he shouldn't be, there's no way he should be running up and down the court with these young guys at this age, being that he, went to 8 straight finals, went to 10 finals, all the playoff games, all this stuff. There's no way he should be running full speed and be able to keep up with these guys, okay? And he shouldn't be scoring 25 points a game. He shouldn't. He should be scoring max 18, 20 points a game. And I know he gets a lot of his points in the paint, but I don't care. I don't care. He shouldn't be able to run up and down the court with these guys. There's no way. There's not at this fast pace. If we was talking about early 2000s, late 90s pace, maybe. Okay, there's no way he should be running up and down the court at this kind of pace. What are you on to be doing this type of stuff? So this is what I'm gonna tell you. Okay, I think people got to realize the media can be a son of a gun. Okay, once you're done, they're going to discard you real quick. Look how they're doing Tom Brady. Look how they did Kareem. Look how they did Kobe Bryant. Look how they did Dr. J. Players, Wilt Chamberlain. Look at how they did these players. Okay, once they can't make money off of you no more, they're going to discard you for the next. And we all think Wemby is going to be the next. To me, I think he's playing in limited minutes. I don't know why. I got my thoughts on this. And it might sound like a conspiracy, but I think the same thing with Zion Williams. They don't want these guys to shine. You got to think about Zion Williams was more popular than LeBron coming into the league. And all of a sudden, he's hurt every year. Now, people can say, oh, it's real. He got hurt. But to me, I think it's something behind it. I think it's something behind Wemby getting limited in minutes. Did they do LeBron like that when he came into the league? No. They did Carmelo Anthony, all these great players that came into the league, they didn't limit their minutes unless they was a bench player. So the whole offense should be going around Wemby, and he should be playing 40 minutes a game. He's young. I don't care about, he might get hurt and all this. No, play the man. Okay, he's supposed to be the biggest talent coming into the NBA since LeBron. Play the man. But to me, I don't think they want that guy getting a shine. So to me, I think he'll play unlimited minutes next year. I think he'll average 30, maybe like 12 to 15 boards and like 3 blocks, because I think he's going to be the next face of the NBA, because I think it's more international than ever. I think he's real humble, and that's what it's going to be. But let me tell you, when I was talking about how to discard athletes for the next, they've been doing that for a long time. So if you remember, a lot of people that grew up watching the MLB, what happened? the Barry Bonds thing hit, and the steroids. They wasn't on top of this man when he was playing. They thought he was the greatest player ever. Remember, they didn't say nothing about steroids, calling Barry Bonds a steroid user and all this stuff. Now steroids was swirling around, but they still wasn't like on top of him like that. Okay, it wasn't until he retired the whole steroid thing broke out, and I'm gonna tell you what it's all about. Because by time 2000 came, they had already pumped in so many international players in baseball, that Americans wasn't going to gravitate to the game like they used to. Okay, because we like American players. It's nothing against the international players. We like soap operas. We like drama. That's what sells sports, not just somebody hitting the ball, catching the ball, or shooting the ball. You actually got to have a soap opera and some drama behind it. Like when Darryl Strawberry was getting caught with, hookers, and Doc Gooden, Kirby Puckett, he was defying the media, this type of stuff. Ricky Henderson, we like American players to sell us some soap operas and some drama. And we've always had that in football, basketball for the most part. I'm not going to say Michael Jordan was getting in trouble or defiant or anything like that. But, you had your Charles Barkley back in the day. He was real defiant. We like a soap opera, okay? So the international players, they're not going to get in trouble. They're not American. They don't know the American culture and all this stuff. So we gravitate more towards American players. Okay. So by 2000, they had kicked out so many Americans from baseball. They knew they was going to be in trouble in the future because they didn't have really no Americans to sell the game, especially black Americans. That's the most American people they put out of baseball, and brought in the Latino players because they could pay them in the Caribbean leagues less money coming up through the farm team. So if you pay an American player, especially back then, you would have to pay them like $1 million to be like in the farm team. Okay. But you get a Latino player and put them in the Caribbean league, you pay them like 25,000, 50,000, or something like that. So they start getting rid of the majority of the American players, especially the black players. But to me, you should have kept the black players and put the Latino players with the black players. You would have had a super league, right? Now you look at baseball. The last 20 years, it's pretty much dead. Nobody watches baseball because there's no soap opera, there's no drama, there's no American players to sell baseball and commercials and stuff like that, or just like drama. Period. So we're ticking towards the same thing in basketball, right? You got all these international players from Europe, Canada, Africa, stuff like that. They pretty much done took over, I would say, about 60% of NBA basketball, if not more. Okay, we've always had international players, but it's so many now. In the top 5 players are international players in basketball. So to me, I think they're going to do the same thing that Major League did when LeBron retires, to keep the NBA afloat, okay? Because, look, when LeBron retires, it's really going to be an international game. All your great players are international. So American people aren't really going to gravitate towards the NBA, and it's going to be like an MLB. So to me, I think they're going to do the same thing that they did to Barry Bonds, and they're going to do it to LeBron. The media is going to turn on him. It's going to be a steroid scandal, and this whole thing is just going to be big, and that's what's going to keep the NBA afloat for maybe a couple years. You know what I'm saying? Because I think LeBron, he's going to roll on people, he's going to snitch, and all this stuff. So the biggest thing for LeBron, they're not going to be able to take his money away. He's still going to have $1 billion or something like that. Maybe you might need some lawyers. I don't know, but they're really going to turn their back on this guy. Not only the media, the reason why the media doesn't say nothing about this steroid thing with LeBron now is because they would have to come up with a big script, okay? They're saving their script for when LeBron retires. Oh, we didn't know. We kind of thought something, but we didn't want to say this and all that. But watch how they turn on the dude, okay? They're gonna use LeBron and the steroids to keep the NBA afloat, to keep people talking about the NBA. And once the LeBron and the steroid thing dies down, the NBA is going to die down because it's not an American sport no more. Okay. Even if you remember hockey in the 80s and 90s, it was a little bit bigger than what it was now because they have more American players in hockey. Now it's like 98% international. And look, I don't have nothing against international players, but it is what it is. American people, we like soap operas. And the American players bring the soap opera. They bring the drama and all that stuff. So again, you heard it from me first. When LeBron, I mean, all this stuff is coming out now. So, let's see if LeBron squeals, if he rolls on people, he snitches when the ball drops, because we all know the Patriots and Bill Belichick, he didn't snitch. If you think Bill Belichick was the only person cheating in the NFL, you must be crazy, okay? If trust me, if he was, they would have took him down, okay? But he wasn't the only one, okay? But what he did, he didn't squeal. He kept his mouth shut. He just took the heat and he took the punishment. So same thing with Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds wasn't the only person taking steroids, okay? But they hit him harder because he was a bigger name in baseball to keep baseball alive. I mean, he could have snitched, he could have squealed on a lot of people. And I know a lot of people got convicted, accused, but he could have took it even further. He could have been snitching on teams, the MLB, and stuff like that. So this is what we're going to see in these next couple of years when LeBron retires and the media turns on him, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Shannon Sharps, because they don't have no more use for this guy after he retires. Because right now, they're just using him to sell tickets, sell merch, and all this stuff. Because reality is, this guy is 4-6 loser. He only has 2 statistical titles. So what are they protecting this guy so much for to keep him in the top 2? Why? Because he sells the NBA. Not being this great top 2 player or even top 5 player is because of the ratings. Whether good or bad, it's selling ratings right now. And like I said, when he retires, the NBA will have nobody else to sell. So they will turn on him real quick for the steroid scandal. It might be before he retires. And this is how they're going to keep the NBA alive. The NBA will always be good, but because they have so many international players that cannot sell the NBA, they're going to need to keep this steroid thing going. So you guys tell me what you think. Yeah, this image is kind of funny. He went to 8 straight finals after he was on the juice, allegedly. You know, even a lot of players are going to turn on him too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a brotherhood right now. A lot of these guys are getting paychecks from retirement and all this stuff. So they just keep their mouth shut. So they're not going to say a lot right now. So we'll see. We will see. You guys just tell me what you think. Because like I said, I think that everybody in the media and a lot of players are just going to roll on this guy for one of the biggest stories in sports history.